Hi, I'm Darnell with Way Living Recipes, and this is my review of the Gourmia FoodStation Smokeless Indoor Grill and Air Fryer. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed. Alright, so let's go through the paperwork now that we got everything unboxed. Comes with a user manual here, comes with a registration card, a little advice to let the cooker cool down for 30 minutes after use before pulling out the drip tray, because you don't want to burn yourself, but we'll show you the drip tray in a little bit. More warnings here about don't put it on a range top, a stove top, or like a cooking surface. Basically, you want to put it on a stable, horizontal, heat-resistant level surface is what they say. So don't be putting this on your range top, or even if it's an induction cooktop, don't put it on top of it, is what they're telling you. Also comes with some recipes, so it's a grill and air fryer recipe book. So see how many pages. Oh, it looks like there's like pictures and recipes, so they put a bit of work in there. It's like picture on one page, recipe on the next. So lots of things here. Let's see how many pages there are total in this recipe book. It looks like in the back there's like some charts and things. So it's basically, if you include the back cover, it's 40 pages, it's 39 pages if you don't include the back cover, but they're individual recipes up until page 35, sorry. Up till page 35 are individual recipes, and then after that there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of like charts just to kind of give you guidance. So now we'll go through the accessories. There are not many that come with the cooker, and basically there's the grill plate. And so this grill plate here, show you that. It is 14 inches by 9.5 inches non-stick surface. And then inside here, I've got the air fry basket. The air fry basket, they say, is a 6-quart capacity basket. So you basically swap between the air fry basket and the grill plate depending on what you're doing. We'll talk in detail about when to use which in a little bit. So let me see if I can get that. Yeah, use the little handles there to get that in and out like that. So those are the accessories. That's really all there is to it, except for the drip pan, and I'll show you in a closer up view in a moment. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you about like the power plug. Here it is. It's a 39-inch cord length with a 3-prong cord, so you do get grounding with this plug. I like grounding. Now, basically it's a 1650 watt cooker, and we'll see how that works out in the test and all later. The cooker's dimensions are 16.93 inches in length, 15.75 inches in width, and 5.38 inches in height. And they say that when you're using the grill plate for grilling, you can leave the lid open or closed when you're grilling. But for everything else and every other function, you use the basket, and that's when you want to have it closed. So you want to have it closed for all the other functions. And the air fry basket is used for air fry, bake, roast, and dehydrate. And that's everything that this cooker can do except to grill. And let's see, what else do we have here? They say it might have a strong plastic smell during the first few cooks. And I personally always recommend doing a burn off of like maybe 20 minutes on the highest heat setting to try and burn things off. But they say that this will last like potentially the first few cooks. And that's not a good thing to have that, you know, plastic smell and bad smell on a cooker, but we'll hope that that dissipates quickly. And of course, we don't know, you know, when it comes to your health, probably not. They say it doesn't harm you, but you know, something that smells bad, not necessarily good, but we're going to hope this dissipates quickly. We'll see how it goes. Let's see, they mentioned that for oil, if you want to use oil, they say use a mister or hand sprayer. They caution do not use the canned cooking sprays, like those ones you get in the store, canned cooking sprays. Don't use those. I personally recommend for your oil, try extra light olive oil. It doesn't taint the flavor of food and it has a high smoke point. I would not recommend canola oil, but I've got a whole video called Cooking Tips and Health Myths where I clear up a lot of things in that regard. And even some things that I used to do in the past I clear up. But basically the temperature range for this cooker is up to 510 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's for the grill function. The lowest grill setting is 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So you'll see when I'm showing you functions and all later. Basically the grill function has like these, it doesn't show you a temperature, it shows you like flames and increasing levels of flames. And the lowest is 400, the highest is 510 for the grill function. We'll have to look through the temperature ranges for some other functions when we get to that. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, they mentioned that you should of course use non-metal utensils like silicone tongs, since you're dealing with these metal surfaces and non-stick coatings. You don't want to start chipping those off and get them into your food. That'd be very bad for your health. So basically I want to show you around the cooker now. So you see here up front, the drip pan's down there. We'll get that out in a minute. You see on the side, see over on this side how it looks on that side. On the back, that's your back. Let's see, we can even show you underneath. That's how it looks underneath. So that's your look around the cooker. Alright, now that you can see things close up, I'm going to take the drip pan out so you can get a look at that. So here that is. And so basically it's a two-piece kind of a deal because it's got this metal drip cover there that goes into this reservoir. And so basically you just kind of set that in here like this. You want to make sure you always line that notch up. Let's see if I can get it in there right. Hold on. Got to line the notch up. There we go. I'll line the notch up and get it in there. Then just slide it in conveniently into the bottom. And there you go. And you want to always keep that clean, of course, but we'll talk about cleaning more later. Alright, so we got the Gourmia here, and here we have the Ninja Foodi Smart XL Pro Grill and Griddle. So going to just kind of do some side-by-side comparison of sizes for you. You can see quite obviously the Gourmia kind of goes further out in length like that. As far as the front to back, I think they're almost even front to back because there's like some hump in the back here. They're almost even. Actually, the Ninja might be just a tad longer front to back because it's got like a hump in the back. It's got this big handle here. It might just a tad longer there. So let's just do a little exterior measuring independently of both of these. So when I do the Ninja here, I'm looking at about 13 and a half, about 13. Let me, hold on, make sure I get that right. It's about 13 and a half there. We do the Gourmia side to side here. Let's see if we can get this right. A little over 16 and a half there. And let's do the front to back thing. I'm going to have to try and account for this hump down the bottom. And let's see. And the hump in the front. So I'm looking at about 16 inches there when I do the Gourmia. Yeah, I'm looking at about 16 inches there too, so maybe they're about even in that regard. Height with their domes closed, let's have a look at that. Now, definitely the Ninja is taller. I mean, you're talking about maybe 14 inches on the Ninja. On the Gourmia, you're talking about with that handle. Let's see, trying to get down and get good eye level. Yeah, it's just about 8 inches there with that handle. Now when I lift the lid up, let's see, the Ninja what am I looking at here? All right, I'm going to have to do this from the side over here. So you have to take my word for it. But it's about 16.5 inches up there. Now the Gourmia, lift this thing up. It's pretty tall. It's taller than my countertop. Let's see if I pull this out here. Yeah, gotta be careful. I don't knock anything over. But you can see it's a pretty tall deal when it's got its lid open. And with the lid open, let me turn that for you here while I try and get eye level with it. We're talking about 19 inches there with that lid open. Pretty high. You're gonna have to figure out where you want to set this. Make sure you have good clearance. I've got a spot in mind for mine. So let's look at the well, it's got this grill plate in here. I'm just going to compare the grill plates. I'm not going to get into the air fry basket versus the grill or the Ninja basket. I guess it's a little, I guess I could grab that Ninja basket real quick, but let me just show you. They're about the same. About the same. Oh, well, sorry. Didn't realize I was too low. I mean, too high. So, here we go. You've got the two grill plates. They're about the same size there. I'm going to real quick and stick this in and do some measuring. I want to try and figure out how to measure. Let me just, I gotta leave this one out to do it. Oh no, I can measure it in there. Sorry about that banging. So, get this in. There we go. Alright, so this one, the Ninja, is 13 across, and this way the width is 9.5. So it's 13 by 9.5, whereas Gourmia is, let's see, it's about 13.5. It's 13.5. Let's see if I can get the width done here. It's just 9. Just 9. It's 13.5 by 9 that way. I'm going to grab the air fry baskets real quick and just compare those so that you can see the different size of the air fry baskets. Okay, so here's the air fry baskets. This is the Gourmia. This is the Ninja. The Ninja, I think, is a 4-quart basket, so 2 less than the Gourmia. You can kind of fit it in there. Even though the Ninja is a little taller, the Gourmia has so much width that it's got it beat overall. Okay, so now we got the Gourmia, which is pretty slim, next to the Ninja dual heat air fry oven, which is also pretty slim. And basically going side to side, I think that the Ninja might be just a little wider than the Gourmia. I guess I'm just going to check. Yeah, it's a little wider than the Gourmia overall from my vantage point. As far as front to back goes, the Gourmia is just a little longer front to back. And as far as your cooking surfaces, I'm just going to compare the baskets here. This is your Ninja air fry basket. It's a little bigger than the Gourmia basket as far as overall size. Even the Gourmia basket is taller. So the dual heat air fry oven gives you a little more room to work with, even though it's a pretty slim cooker here. And then you've got like your sear plate here and the Gourmia grill plate. Let's see if I can get that out. Show you here. You see that the Gourmia is dwarfed by the Ninja sear plate, so it just kind of gives you an idea of the differences there. I believe, and I've got a full review of it here on the channel, I believe this gets up to 500, so near comparable heat, 10 degrees difference. So I don't think you're supposed to let that slam down like that. I'm going to have to be more careful putting that in there in the future, Lord willing. But that gives you a comparison of those two. Alright, so now I'm going to do an initial plug-in, and we'll see how things light up once I plug it on in. Alright, so we got it plugged in. Just gives us a little power indicator there. So I hit the button and things light up. So this is how it looks when you first turn things on. Alright, so down here on the grill grate, I've got my iGrill 2 ambient probe there. Maybe you see it right there on the grill grate sitting there. And so it sits just above the actual grate itself. So just making sure I've got things in here good and even. Sorry for any excess noise. But it seems like trying to close it up, the wire from the ambient probe is kind of sticking out a little, just a little bit. Seems like things would close more flush if I didn't have the wire, but we're going to go with it anyway, and you can make what you will of that. But we're still going to count this as a actual test temperature, because regardless of how the door is setting, a preheat should reach your target temperature once it knows it reaches the target temperature, regardless of having that little wire there. And we'll see what happens. Now I'm going to just basically go ahead and use the grill function, and I'm going to do the highest there. You could do, like, let's see, oh yeah, I forgot, it's like, this is the time and this is your temp. So if you go down on temp, you see it goes up. Yeah, I thought it didn't have actual temperature display for grill, but it does. So we go up to 500. I'm going to push the time up. I'm just so I have an even amount of time to count down from. I'm going to do down from 30 minutes. And I've got the preheat set so that it'll preheat. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And you can keep an eye on the temperature here on the iGrill 2. And so now that it's preheating, we'll just let that run. Let you watch some time lapse, and we'll see how this thing goes as far as preheating. Alright, it looks like maybe 6 minutes. I'll have the exact time on the screen, but the preheat finished, and it's only at 400 degrees. Well, it was at 400, then it went down to 394. So it's not anywhere near 510. I guess you could say, oh, well, maybe right directly on the grate it's 510. Well, I mean, that probe is just right above it. It's practically almost touching it. It's, yeah, I guess you could say that, but I'm not impressed. I'll just say that. So we're going to let this run for a little bit longer, and then we'll do some more checking. But I'm going to let this just run for a little while, see how it goes. We see that the temperature on the temperature probe has dropped down to like 370. Even though that cord is in there, it's not like a big gap or anything in the lid. It's not really anything very major there. So we're just going to let this continue to go, see what happens. Alright, so I've let it run for another 5 minutes. We see that the ambient probe's reading 371, which is lower than it was reading just after the preheat. So it regulates down, and you know, is there 130 degrees between this much space on that ambient probe and that grate? I'm just going to say I'm less than impressed. And let's do a little feel around here. Super hot right here. Super hot. You don't want to have anything there, okay? I'm not touching it. On the side here, it's pretty warm. You know, I can keep my hand there, but it's pretty warm. This side, about the same thing. In the back, it's fine in the back. But right here on top, I mean, that's crazy hot right there. Down here, I'm feeling, I'm good. I don't feel any, you know, no, I could keep my hand there all day. So that's basically how things are with that. I'm going to go ahead and do like a stop of this. I'm going to do like a check of the memory now. So let's say I turn things back on and I go over to the grill function. It totally forgot what I just did, okay? So no memory. Doesn't remember your last cook. And so that's the deal. And I find that happens with a lot of gourmets. They just don't include that memory function, even though it's a Nice feature to have. So that's the deal there. Alright, so let me talk to you a little bit about the cooker. Basically, the preheat, this preheat button here, can be enabled or disabled. So like if I'm on grill, I can disable it or re-enable it. Or if I'm on, let's say, air fry, I could disable it or re-enable it. It's there for the different functions. It's not there for dehydrate though, but it's there for roast and bake. So you can enable or disable as you prefer. There's a turn reminder here, and the turn reminder you can, well, now it's enabled, or you can disable that. Same deal as far as the functions. And let's see, yeah, I can enable it for roast or even bake if I wanted to. But basically the deal with the turn reminder is that it's going to alert you to turn the food halfway through the cooking time if you have it enabled. And there's a smoke extractor. Let me go over here to grill, and you see the smoke extractor here on grill, and they say that for grilling it can be used, and it's recommended to be used. It's recommended you keep that on with the grill function. Now when you're on air fry, there's no smoke extractor, none for bake, of course none for dehydrate, none for roast. So the smoke extractor is a grill exclusive feature. Now when you're in the middle of a cook, let's say I just wanted to go ahead and just start that, and well, it says add food first, but you can basically let it go ahead and, well, we'll let it get past this. I should have, well, I stopped it anyway, but I'm going to do it from air fry because it's going to be easier to show you what I want to show you from air fry anyway, because there are a couple different ways you can pause. I'm going to stop the preheat and, well, just stop the turn reminder. Just going to let it start running. Basically, if you want to pause, you can always just hit cancel one time, and that pauses the cook. And then you can continue. If you press stop or the stop cancel button twice, it'll stop the cook. Now, if you lift the lid on the air fry function, they say in the manual it's supposed to auto pause, but it's not. It's not pausing. It says when you're using grill, it'll automatically, when you're not using grill, it'll automatically pause if the lid is open, but that's not happening. So let me stop this. Let me try this with like bake. Stop the preheat, hit start. Now it's counting down. I open. No, seems that the lid does not the lid does not cause any type of pause. I saw in the manual when I was prepping for this that opening the lid was supposed to auto pause, but apparently not. You do have the cancel button to press there one time to do your pausing, so keep that in mind. Alright, so now I'm going to go through all the cooker functions with you, just to give you an idea. I think we've already gone through grill pretty extensively, so we won't worry about grill. But over here on air fry, of course you'd have the air fry basket in, and we're going to see how hot it goes, just so we get an idea. 425 appears to be our max on air fry. See what our minimum is for minimum temperature on air fry. See if we get there quickly. And the minimum is looking like, wow, pretty low. 170. That's pretty low air fry. I don't think you're frying if you're on 170. But you got 1 minute for your minimum amount of time. We'll see where the max goes, but keep holding this thing and see how far it goes up. Looks like 45 minutes is our max. Getting over to bake. See how far bake goes down. Does it go down to 170? It's going to be baking at 170. Oh, interesting. Yep, you could bake at 170. Well, anyway, let's go up to the max. Does it go to 425 too? We'll see. Yep, 425. Minimum, well, let's assume it's 1 minute. We'll just go up to the max, see how far bake can go up. And it's going past 45 minutes. So 60 minutes. Most time you get on bake is 60 minutes. Roast. How hot can roast go? 425 again. 170 on roast too? We'll see. Yep, 170 minimum roast. Let's assume the minimum is 1 minute. See what the max is for roast. 60 minutes max for roast. Dehydrate. Dehydrate, minimum goes down further to 90 degrees for the max for for the minimum for dehydrate is 90 degrees. The max for dehydrate is at 170. Let's see what the minimum is for dehydrate. Yeah, it's going down to minutes now, so let's assume it gets down to 1 minute if we held that long, but I'm not going to hold that long. So now I'm assuming this is hours, 10, 14, 16, yeah, these are hours here. 24 hours, so up to 24 hours, and let's hit start. Yeah, you see it's not counting down in the seconds, so up to 24 hours, and you can go between 170 and 90 on your dehydrate. So that gives you an idea of the different functions and their different ranges. Alright, so I'm going to do a grilled bread test because I like grilled bread. So I've got a slice of my almond flour whole wheat bread here. You can see the full recipe in the video description. But basically I'm going to get the cooker turned on and I'm going to use the grill function. I'm going to max out the temperature at 510 and I'm going to take the time down to, I'm thinking between 4 and, I'm going to do 4. So max temperature 4 minutes, and go ahead and hit start and let it preheat, and I'll basically get it in once the preheat is done. Alright, it's time to put the bread in, so take it and drop it in there on the grill grate, let it cook for a couple minutes and then flip it over. Time to turn, flip it over there. Alright, let's go ahead and finish cooking on that other side. Alright, the cook time is up. So, get the grilled toast out. So, you see how it looks on this side here. And when I flip it over, see how it looks on the back side. So, basically got your grill marks on both sides there. Alright, so I got another slice of my almond flour whole wheat bread. I'm going to try and air fry this just to see how it goes on air fry. See about any differences going up to the max of 425. Going to do 4 minutes again. So bring that down. Hit the turn reminder, let it preheat. So I'll put it in a moment. Alright, let's get the bread on in there. Got the air fry basket already in. Turn it over in a couple minutes. Alright, time to flip, sorry about that, hit the camera. Time to flip things over. Alright, we'll let the other side go ahead and cook. See if I can not hit the camera again. Alright, time's up. See what's going on. So you see with the bread, basically where the basket seared it basically. So this is like part of the air fry basket and seared it on both sides. So that's what you get when trying to use air fry for bread. And I guess, you know, for you who are wondering, can you make toast with it? Well, yes you can. And for about maybe 30 seconds after the cook, that fan runs. I don't really time it, but maybe 30 seconds or so after the cook, the fan runs and then it stops. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, so in this 10-inch round bake pan, I've got some almond flour chocolate chip cookie dough. Recipe is on the screen. And I'm going to go ahead and preheat the cooker. So I'm going to hit bake, go up to 350, and they would take about 17 minutes. I'm going to do 20, and we'll see how that works out. Hit start there, let it preheat, then we'll get it in. Alright, time to get the cookies in. So, Oh no, my pan doesn't fit. Oh my goodness, I thought this pan would fit, but it won't. I'm going to have to move them to a 9-inch pan. So, let's see. I'll basically have to pause this, go up to 20, and get a 9-inch pan and migrate. Yes, I did forget when using the pan, the 10-inch pan, that the measurements were less than 10 inches for the width, so just have to move things over to a smaller pan. Let's see, I think I'll just turn it off, turn it back on, and let it do another fresh preheat. I want to make sure that things are properly preheated since we are review testing here. Just get a few more of these over into the 9-inch pan. So I'm going to turn this back on. Let's see, bake. Get it up to 350 again. Back to 20 minutes. And start, and it feels that it's already sufficiently preheated. So I'm just going to throw them in like this. Here we go. And this barely fits. Man, it barely fits. I mean, it fits, but it's like barely, it's not touching the bottom flush. So even a 9-inch bake pan, round bake pan, doesn't really fit flush in there. But we'll see what happens. I'll bring you back because we're going to have to work with that. Ramekins that I have, they're too high. They're too high. When you try and close, the door won't even close on those. So the 9-inch bake pans are the best that I can use as far as utensils for things like baking something big. I have like silicone stuff too, but I don't have anything as big as like this 9-inch bake pan for that purpose. So I'll bring you back and we'll see how things look later. Alright, time is up. Going to just feel how things feel on top. Feels a little underdone. I'm going to have to let them go a little longer. So let's see if I do bake 350. Give them like another 5 minutes. So this is basically longer. It's already longer than most other cookers I would use. I would normally do, like I said, about 17 minutes. And after 7, no, let me turn reminder off. Yeah. So normally I would use about 17 minutes at 350, and most cookers, most air fryer ovens would work out just fine. So to even go 20 was longer than normal. But what's happening is the heat's only coming from the bottom. There's not really a lot of airflow, I guess, across the top. So what's happening is the edges, and you'll see this when I pull them out, the edges are cooking more than the center, which is a pretty interesting thing going on there. So I'm thinking when you cook things in this cooker, you want them to be things that don't necessarily have like a high lid type of pan or a high side type of pan that kind of constricts the airflow a little bit. You want to have just things that you can put flat on the basket surface, and that way the air can flow right over them. But with things like cookies and things, baked goods, you know, they'll like start kind of dipping kind of into the grooves of the air fry basket some, and I am not a fan of aluminum foil. Really try and not use it as much as possible. I'd rather use this pan than to do that, so I'm not going to line the air fry basket with aluminum foil to do that. I could have lined it with parchment paper though. So if you're going to do something like these cookies, just a tip, line the basket with like some parchment paper and put them on the parchment paper instead of putting into a pan like I did, because that's constricting the airflow. And like I said, things are getting cooked on the edges more than they are in the center. But we'll let this continue and I'll bring you back. Alright, so it's been 25 minutes now. I'm just going to feel the top real quick, and I think they're good. Almost, well, I did kind of slightly burn my finger, but it's okay. So there you see the edges are really hot. I'm going to set this aside. So for an air fry test, I've got some carrots chopped up and in some extra light olive oil here. And I'm going to basically hit air fry. Gonna do 390 for the temp. The cooking time, we'll try 15 minutes and see how that works for them. And won't need to turn the reminder, but we'll need to preheat. So we'll let it preheat, and then I'll basically literally toss the carrots in. Alright, gonna add the carrots in there now. Guess I can just drop them all in there like that. Let them go ahead and cook, and I'll bring you back. Alright, so the air fry time is finished. And going to go ahead and get things out and put them all into this bowl here. Alright, so basically I've got them all out. You can see them here. And I'd say for 15 minutes at 390, this is a slightly soft air fry. Other cookers for the same would have air fried them harder. So this cooker overall, I mean, even without the temperature test, is just a softer cooker than a lot of others in pretty much all regards. But I'll just let them cool down for a moment. Alright, so gave things some time to cool down, so thank God for these air fried carrots. Just going to taste one. Yeah, definitely a lighter air fry. Basically, depending on cooker you're coming from, you'll probably want to add more temperature or time to things that you cook in this one. I've got the cookies here, so I'm basically going to get myself a cookie out. See if I can pull one out here. So here's one. Show you the back side. Back sides are extra cooked because all the heat comes from the bottom. So I'll go ahead and taste this too. Cookies turned out very well. And I just want to show you how shallow the basket is for putting things in there for baking and such. It's, as we see here, like 3 inches. 3 inches. So any pan, pot, I mean anything, ramekin, anything you want to put in there that's higher than 3 inches is going to be too high. And even though it's like 13 inches side to side, they're like little handles on the inside of the basket. So the width, sorry I bumped the camera, the width, when you consider the handles, is 12 inches. On the parts where the handles are not there, you get about 14 inches. So you lose about 2 inches because the handles take an inch on each side. If you're trying to put in like a big pan, you can't put in like even a 13-inch big pan without handles. You can't put in, because even though it's 14 this way, these handles get in the way. So that's just some stuff to keep in mind as far as measurements. You can consider that like an additional addendum to the measurement considerations. Now I want to talk to you about cleaning the cooker. Basically, they say you want to unplug the cooker before cleaning. Of course, you want to wait, like they said, 30 minutes for a full cool down before you start cleaning. And they mentioned that the grill grate, the air fry basket, the drip tray, and the drip tray cover are all dishwasher safe. They don't give guidance on a rack level in that regard. You want to use like warm soapy water, dishcloth to wipe everything clean, and then a wet one to wipe everything off, and wait for everything to be totally dry before you use the cooker again. You don't want to immerse the main unit in water. That's something to keep in mind. So let's talk about the warranty. The cooker comes with a 1-year warranty, and so basically that concludes the review, and I hope that it helps anyone who is considering this cooker. And so nothing in this video is sponsored, nothing was given to me, all paid for myself. And so basically there's lots of ways to help the channel in the video description, such as the cookbook, merch, membership, donations, link to the Amazon shop. And so all that stuff can help the channel out. And you can always check out my blog, superwaveovenrecipes.com. That's superwaveovenrecipes.com. And so I hope that you did like this video, and if you did, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with a friend, leave your comments, subscribe, hit that notification icon, and good eating.